Hi everyone, I'm Katie Trapattoni, and today we will be talking about the importance of higher level thinking questions and ways that you can use them in your classroom. So higher level thinking questions are those questions that students they cannot answer from recall or by reading information directly from the text. What that means is that if a student read the story Goldilocks and the Three Bears and you ask them a question about what did Goldilocks do to the porridge of the bears? Well, they're just having to go back into the story and look up the information. I'm going to talk about today ways that you can ask questions to your students that allow them to think a little bit deeper into the story. High-level thinking questions promote critical thinking skills because these types of questions expect students to analyze, apply, synthesize, and evaluate information instead of just recalling facts from something they've learned or read. Using these questions in your classroom allows students' brains to become more open-minded and in the long run allows them to grow. Next, the information learned and processed through the higher level thinking processes is remembered longer and more clearly than information that is processed through lower order or remote memorization. Knowledge obtained through higher order thinking processes is more easily transferable, which means that students that have a deep conceptual understanding of an idea will be much more likely to be able to apply that knowledge in a new way to solve new problems. Meaning, if you taught a student about one concept and they see a problem in another area, they can use that knowledge in that area to help them be more successful. Now that you know why asking questions on a higher level is important, I'm going to go through the different levels of hierarchy of questionings, starting at the very bottom with basic knowledge, going all the way to the very top. So I would like you to meet the Bloom Sponge. This is a family of thinkers. The next couple of slides is where I will go through and talk about each member of the family. Each member plays a valuable part in questioning in their family. I will also be giving a brief examples of questions and keywords to let you know that in your classroom, when you're asking those questions or telling your students to do tasks, what level of the hierarchy it is on. So I would like you to meet the I Remember brother. This brother is on the very bottom of Bloom's taxonomy. He is the brother who has rote memorization. He is able to exhibit memory of previously learned material by recalling fundamental facts, terms, basic concepts, and answers about the selection that was read or information that was being taught. So like I said earlier, I'm going to be giving you a list of keywords and example questions or question stems that you can write down and use in your classroom. So if you're asking questions that begin with who, what, when, where, why, how, spell, list, then you're most likely asking questions that the student can go back in the story or recall information that they've learned previously. Some question stems that might help you is, what is the color of the bear shirt? Or who were the main characters? When did this happen? All the students are having to do is remember what was said in the story or what was taught in the lesson. This is rote memorization. This is also a very important concept in learning as well as continuing to build on their question levels. The next sister is the I understand sister. She is right above knowledge and she has to do with comprehension. This sister can demonstrate her understanding of facts and ideas by organizing, comparing, translating, interpreting, and giving descriptors and stating main ideas. Some keywords for this sister would be to compare, contrast, outline, relate, rephrase, translate, summarize, and so on. Some questions you may use in your classroom would be, how would you compare oranges to apples? If you had a whole lesson on oranges and a whole lesson on apples, they take the information that they learned and compare them together. So you can see that this is one step higher than just recalling information that they learned. You could also say, will you interpret in your own words, why do you think this happened? So again, one step higher than just knowledge. This is the apply brother. He is the third ring of Bloom's taxonomy, and this brother can solve problems in new situations by applying the knowledge that he has learned, facts, techniques, and rules in a different or new way. Some keywords for this brother would be, of course, in his name, apply, build, choose, construct, interview, experiment with, solve. So you can see that they're going to take the information they learned all the way down to the knowledge and use it in a new way. So you can see where their brains are having to think a little bit more. So some question stems you could use would be, how would you use this information that we learned and apply it to this situation? Or how would you solve this problem using what you've learned about this? So you can see that they're just having to apply it in a new way. I'd like you to meet the I Analyze sister. So this is, again, a level deeper of thinking than just applying what they learned. This sister can examine and break information down into parts by identifying motives or causes. She can make inferences and find evidence to support her generalizations. Some keywords for her, again, of course, is in her name: analyze, categorize, conclusion, test for, examine, inference. So some question stems would be, how is this topic related to blank? So again, they're taking what they learned and they're analyzing it in a new light. Why do you think this happened? So why do you think gravity holds us to the ground? Why do you think that's happening? So they're having to analyze information in a different way. Can you make a distinction between this information and this information? So again, it's a little bit higher level thinking, and you can see where if you ask those kids the questions, they may look at you and go, I don't know the information, because it's not right there, and their brain is not used to having to think like that. If you coach them through each of these steps and levels and let them know it's okay to sit there and think and not have an answer right away, that will help in the process of getting your kids to think in a new way. So I would like you to meet the I Create sister. She is the second highest level of thinking. So she can compile information together that she learned in a new and different way by combining elements in a new pattern or proposing alternative solutions. Some of her keywords would be build, choose, compile, create, design, imagine. As you can see from the keywords, that this is a fun time for the students. They get to take the knowledge that they've learned and they get to make something out of it. They get to get their hands dirty and create something new. So some questions you could ask would be, well, what changes would you make to solve this problem? Or how would you improve the situation? Or you could say, we learned about this topic. What way would you design this to prove this? And last but not least is the I Evaluate brother. He is the most deepest level of questioning and thinking that you can do. He can present and defend opinions by making judgments about information, validity of ideas, or quality of work based on a set of criteria. As you can see that this is the highest level, so if you ask a question, your students may again look at you and be like, I'm stuck because the answer's not right in front of them. Again, that is okay. We have to train their brain to think in a little bit more complicated way, so that in the long run, their brain can take the knowledge they learned and apply it in new situations. So the I Evaluate brother, his keywords are award, disapprove, prove, explain, compare, defend, conclude, and some question stems would be, would it be better if I did this or this? And tell me why. Why do you think it would be better? Or why wouldn't it be better? Or how could you determine this? If I did this, what do you think would happen? So as you can see here, the kids may look at you and be confused, but I promise if you work through each of the hierarchies, you're going to see a great result in the long run. I hope that you have learned a little bit more about why higher level questioning is important, and ways you can do it in your classroom. Go back and use those question stems in your classroom and come up with questions. Use those key words. And I believe that if you go through the process, and it'll be painstaking at times, but you will see great results in the end. Thank you so much for joining me.